So I got a girlfriend lately. She's really kinky.
She claims that she still has a safe word, and that's the interesting part. Yeah, that's not the person to put into a slave owner roleplay scenario. This is still a really extreme type of roleplay to do. You should normally work your way up to something like this, where you have a bunch of like setup scenarios where you already know each and everything.
You know, I feel like this might not be the best time, or I'm positive.
Stay there. Stay there. I'm on the phone. She tried to trouble because I'm.
Listen, the show can't become part of your scene.
I didn't mean to come part of my scene.
I understand that, but still.
I appreciate the advice.
Oh, yeah, okay, I did see this on them. So yeah, Max Carson, Mr. Girl, tweeted out a couple days ago, what was it, August 1st? So yeah, 2 days ago. He said, an ex-member of my Discord, username Dabber, was arrested for some type of sexual interaction with a minor. The rumor is a 16-year-old, but I don't have proof. In Florida 4 nights ago. The charge description is obscene communication, travel to meet after use, comput to lure a child. Timothy and I emailed briefly last spring when he wanted to help me design a video game, but he started spilling personal, non-criminal details about himself, and I stopped responding. A couple weeks ago, he called into my sex hotline to say that he was engaging in 24/7 slave roleplay with a partner who had recently left an abusive situation. I said it sounded like she was unable to consent to the roleplay given her previous abusive situation, and advised him to stop, and ended the call because I was uncomfortable. I don't know if the partner in question is the same person as the minor, and of course I had no knowledge of any relationship he had with any minors. He did not meet the minor in my Discord server, and they have never been a member of the server. Minors have never been allowed in my server. Anyone else in my community who does anything to harm minors will get their shit similarly aired out. Damn. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Girl, because of the topics that he talks about, because he does a lot of content about pedophilia and, you know, edgy topics, he's always talked about the fact that he feels like he has to be extra careful. He has to be extra careful with what it is that he does and doesn't do, who he allows around him, who he allows to associate with him, who he allows in his community. And so, yes, he is always trying to be extra careful with who he associates himself with and what all happens. Obviously, when the whole Pubegate thing happened, he made a really big deal about that and said that, like, the fact that everybody wants it to be true, that he's a sexual harasser and that he would do weird sexual things, people just accusing him of it is obviously going to give ammo to his enemies and make it to where they're going to continuously repeat the Pubegate allegations, even if they're obviously not true. He's always been kind of on edge about stuff like this. This is obviously a weird one. Not great. Let me pull this up. Somebody asked, arrested or convicted? Hope you did send that stuff to the police though. Max said, yes, I sent the police our call and the info they would need to get records from my server. Somebody asked, is the sex line this weekend? He said the 3rd Saturday, so 2 weeks from Saturday. I've heard some things, freaky folks in his Discord saying things in VC. But what does that mean? You said that it's not safe. I have no reason to believe that his Discord isn't safe. So I don't know if you're going to say his Discord's not safe. I feel like there's got to be a reason. I heard that the guy who was just arrested was in VCs saying wild shit. They knew he was off. Like, sure, people say wild shit in my VCs too. I don't know what that means. Like, this isn't. That guy, from what we know, was a problem for one 16-year-old. Mr. Girl doesn't have 16-year-olds in his Discord. When we say his Discord is unsafe, this scenario doesn't seem to apply because he doesn't allow minors there.
I don't know how defensive asexual.
Wait, is this it? Do I need to rewind more?
Try this unusual bedtime ice hack tonight to change your life for good. You may not know this, but the biological difference between overweight and lean people is not the number of
I switched over to Chrome because I thought I was at least signed in on Chrome, and so I thought maybe I would get less commercials if I was signed in, but apparently that's not the case either.
Talk about though. So I got a girlfriend lately. She's really kinky. She sort of really likes. She really wanted to sort of be abused.
Yeah.
Part of it was meeting random strangers in dangerous situations. Like we met on an online app where it was. She just came over. She told me all these crazy things she's into, and then I was like, "Hey, come over." And she came over, and going to any guy's house when you just met them the same night to get drunk, and after putting all these dangerous things that you're into is a situation where me and her had a lot of fun, but where she's coming from is a place of she had trauma in her life, and she's putting herself in risky situations, and I didn't take anything too far. Like a lot of my relationships have been, I'm the one who's got the crazier kinks, and then my girlfriend usually put a stop to it. So it's been interesting lately being the other way around, because I don't know how you go from how you fulfilling someone's desires that are really out there to have some sort of pain and abuse, which perhaps allows them to maybe relive their trauma in a healthier way, and then, but also, you're not wanting to become somebody they resent, not wanting to also be associated with the abusers, and there's something me and my girlfriend are navigating, but it's got a bit more it's getting a bit more difficult to navigate with this other girl in my life. So about the same time, I was talking to another girl, and I read the post that my girlfriend made to me on that night that we met up about what she was into, and I don't know if it's too explicit to read here, but I showed it to this other girl, and she said, "Oh, I love all those things." She told me that she wanted to be, she basically wanted to be taken, come to my place and be held here as a slave, like tied up, not allowed to be released, not allowed to be let go, no matter how much she begged. She wanted to be used and abused. And I know she was coming from an abusive situation, a very abusive situation that she was currently in. So we talked for a while, and I thought, I've always wanted to have a sex slave. So I took that, I sort of just, after we talked a lot, and I thought, well, I can't do much worse than where she's currently. I invited her to come live with me, and she came over here, and that's it. That was a week ago. So that's where I am now. I've got this girl who is currently my live-in slave.
So he said that a week ago, a girl moved in with him. He's always wanted a sex slave. And so he got a girl to come move in with him. And now she is currently his live-in sex slave.
And this is just because it's a CNC thing. I don't actually have somebody captive. Well, it's a bit complicated, I guess. And then I have my girlfriend.
What do you mean?
She's
It's a
coming
bit
over
okay. Do you have a safe word?
Yeah, we talked about everything beforehand. We wrote things out.
Do you have a safe
We said
word?
a safe word. Yeah.
And she hasn't used it.
She hasn't used it. She claims she's forgot it now, which is interesting. So
Wait. What did he just said? She claims she still got it, which is interesting. She claims that she still has a safe word, and that's the interesting part. Is that what did I just understand that correctly? She claims she still has a safe word? Oh, she claims she forgot it. I thought he said she claims she still got it. She forgot it. Oh.
She claims she's
We're-
forgotten it.
Uh-huh.
Have you told her it?
Have I told her it?
Yeah.
Well, part of that is her forgetting it, I think, is her doing the role play. So I didn't immediately.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking is probably like she pretends to forget it because if she knows it, it kind of can take you out of the role play, and so she would have to continuously act like, oh, what? Safe word? What's a safe word, right?
Tell her it when she said it. We've had some check-in points. Just to be clear, we've had some check-in points because this is at several points. Basically, this got too real for me, and because I'd set boundaries like, hey, you can't leave the room, you can't do this, and then she'd cross the boundaries, and there's some points where she's crying and screaming, and I'm doing things to her, and it's not really in me. So I broke at a certain point, and I was just like, she's saying, I want to go. And then I'm like, okay, you want to go, then you can go. And I mean, that's the last checking point we had where she stopped and she told me, she's like, I want to be here. She's like, but I don't want you to ask me again. I don't want you to ask me again whether I can go. I don't want you to give me that option again.
Okay.
So
what do we talk? What do you want to talk about?
This is a lot harder on me than I thought it would be. I guess what I'm trying to understand is how do you. I don't think all of this comes naturally to me, the desire to hurt people, but how do you take something where somebody has these sort of interests, both my girlfriend and my slave, and navigate a healthy relationship that takes them from maybe trying to sort of relive the trauma in a bad place to being in a good place without becoming someone who's resented in the process.
I think that had you played with this woman before?
No.
Okay. I would advise you to start out with like a scene. Like, I understand it's not the fantasy that she has or that you may have, but I think when starting a BDSM relationship with somebody, even if you or her are experienced, I still think starting out with bounded, small, digestible scenes because when you get into a different mind state where you're dominating or you're submissive or whatever you're doing, it's hard to track exactly how you feel about what's happened, which is why you have like aftercare. Even after like a 2-hour scene, you'll have aftercare and talk about it, and especially if the person is new or you're new, you know what I mean? There's like a lot of processing that happens. And even if something is intensely arousing or somebody's fantasy, I think diving into a 24/7 slave, it sounds like you may need to set a boundary where like she's not allowed to joke or not allowed to play about forgetting the safe word, because that just sounds confusing and disturbing unless you are super, super comfortable with each other, which I don't think you are. So yeah, I just think you guys may have bitten off a bit more than you either can or should chew.
I think you're right. One of the things she asked me many, many times before coming here is she said, I think you're gonna back off. I think you're gonna not want to do what I've asked, which is that she told me, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna want to leave. You cannot let me leave. She said, I'm going to convince you in any way I can that I want to get out of this situation. But she's like, I can't come back to where I'm at, where I took her from a very abusive situation. I maybe think
That's not great. Yeah, that's not great, homie. That's not the person to put into a slave owner role play scenario. where if they're coming out of this abusive situation, maybe they feel like you're the only place that they can go, and they're like doing literally everything they can just to have a place to stay. Yeah, this is not the thing. This is not the way to do that, dude. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's that is not the person to do this with.
She's in a mixed up mindset where maybe she wants, part of her wants to go back to the abuse, and part of her knows she shouldn't do that.
I think that's the other thing, is that if you're saying she's in an abusive situation and her choices are to either continue this 24/7 BDSM slave scene with you or go back to being actually abused, I think that kind of undermines her ability to consent to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So,
She has. She doesn't have to do the BDSM slave thing here. She could just chill here and be here if she wanted to be in a better situation. That's an option. I'm not fixated on that.
I still think it undermines her ability to consent to it, even if you're offering her.
Yeah, because she's going to feel pressured to do it. She's going to feel an obligation to make you happy and to do all the things that you want to do, because she's going to do almost anything she can to avoid having to go back to the abusive situation. So even if she does actually want to do this, you can never actually know that. This is a really hard position to put this person in, where even if this is their dream, this is all they could ever want, it's still you can't know that. What up, Michael? How's it going, homie? Nice to see you.
To be able to end the scene and stay there, I think that having a home, like, it basically, you're saying she's homeless.
Well,
I think being homeless undermines your ability to consent to a 24/7 live-in slave roleplay.
Like, you're talking about one of the most extreme types of roleplay that you could possibly engage in. This is, even for you to just meet somebody, and because like Mr. Girl said, I mean, even if you're both really experienced, this is still a really extreme type of roleplay to do. You should normally work your way up to something like this, where you have a bunch of like setup scenarios where you already know each and everything that the two of you are going to do ahead of time, and you talk about like the perfect scenario for both of you, where both of you are happy, and you act those things out in short spurts, and deal with the short spurts first, and then talk about those things, right? A couple hours today, maybe a couple hours next week, like, not, hey, just move in, let's have a convo, and then you'll be my slave after this. That's really weird. That's not great.
You know, I feel like this might not be the best time, or I'm positive
Stay
this isn't
there. Stay there. I'm on the phone. She tried to trouble because I'm.
Listen, I gotta end this because the show can't become part of your scene.
I didn't mean to come part of my scene.
I understand that, but still, we gotta go.
I appreciate the advice.
Okay, you're welcome.
We'll try to negotiate.
Oh, I feel so gross. He didn't. Oh no, dude. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, dude. Okay. So if you guys got here in the middle of this, okay, so the guy who Mr. Girl was just talking to, crazily enough, recently just got arrested. Says Timothy Frederick Murphy Johnson was booked in Alachua County, Florida for family offense interference with custody of minor / incompetent person. So it sounds like that person was a minor. He's 39. I like that. What race are you? W race. Probably not the best time for that one. So, yeah, Mr. Girl aired out all this dude's dirty laundry and talked about the fact that they had had a call and that he was uncomfortable with it and just kind of tried to end the call because he wasn't happy with it. And then mentioned that this guy was in his Discord and said, like, if you think people are not safe in my Discord, just be aware there's no minors in my Discord. So we've never allowed minors in my Discord, so don't worry about anything like that. They didn't meet in my Discord. This is not a thing that anybody has to worry about in my server. But this is a thing that happened with somebody that was in my server. So is that? No, that's not. Okay. Oof.
Tom,
Yes.
I'm gonna send you some stuff in DMs. Feel free to look at it on stream. It is a conversation between that guy. His name online is Dabber. And then you can, I guess, say what you think. But I've got some opinions about some of the shit Mr. Girl is saying.
Vito said Mr. Girl Nation. Yeah, Mr. Girl, I talk about this all the time. Everybody talks about what a creep he is and that they think he's abusive and all this other crap. But damn, dude, like every chance he gets, he seems to do the right thing publicly. He seems to be really good about showing the fact that he is really good at thinking his way through these scenarios and figuring out what the right thing is. Sometimes he thinks the right thing is way past what it actually is, and he expects way too much of people, like we saw with the Destiny scenario, where he thought even the smallest little things were abusive. But it's but like, if you're worried about the guy being abusive, it seems like he consistently knows either where the line is or he thinks the line is way past what normal people think the line is. So, yeah, I think people are pretty consistently calling him abusive and in sexual ways. Now, if we want to talk about him like being manipulative and crap like that, sure, he seems to be very manipulative and blatantly so. But sexual scenarios do not seem to be his problem. That's where everybody wants to throw stones, and that does not seem to be his problem whatsoever. He is consistently showing that he understands where these lines are, or he's much more sensitive with his lines. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the sexual scenarios like a lot of other people are. Okay. So, let's see. I don't, are you sick? Are you telling me I can't, all of this is good for stream, right?
There might be one screenshot in there that might have the N-word. Let me go back, but I think it's towards the end.
That's not a big deal.
It's hard R, but yeah.
Okay, but that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to have to read through all of this.
Also, keep in mind, all of this takes place within the confines of the Mr. Girl server. This is all from Uncivil chat. I believe this conversation happened a few months ago.
What is uncivil chat?
So uncivil chat is like Mr. Girl's general chat, because there's uncivil chat where you can say and do just about anything and treat people as such, up to the lines of TOS. And then there is civil chat where it's literally just everybody having like a cordial attitude, and that's how you conduct yourselves.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, first one up. Let's see. I don't see him on here. So what is the first screenshot supposed to be?
Okay, so you're looking at it. If you looked at the message below, you would see that I sent them in reverse order. I don't know why. That's just how Discord organized it. And I didn't want to send you 10 messages to send 10 screenshots.
Okay. So am I starting with the bottom right?
Yep. And if you look at the file names, they're actually all in numerical order. So you'll know if you accidentally skipped something.
Okay. All right, let me adjust all of this so I can make this stuff visible. All right. Dabber, the man in question, said, USA expired visa from UK, Florida. She's a Polixi in Cali, if I'm correct. She's a junkie who has my dog and was supposed to send him, but didn't want to. What is a Polixi?
I believe it refers to her sexuality. I don't exactly know, though. At first, I thought it was a misspelling of police, but that's not the case, obviously, if the partner is 16, so...
Yeah, I can't find anything about a Polixi. Anybody in chat know what this is? So I Googled it and I don't see anything.
Oh, you know what? Sass is right. She's in chat. She said maybe it's police. It actually is police. She's at the police in Cali, if I'm correct. So she's at the police department, is what he's saying.
Okay. All right. So Florida, she's at police in Cali. If I'm correct, she's a junkie who has my dog and was supposed to send him, but didn't want to. We dated for 1.5 years. She recorded all our conversations. I always told her, even if I'm arrested and dismissed, I go back home. She went missing from 12 to 5 p.m. today. She has told everyone she's safe and everyone has said, call Dabber, but she didn't. 2 of my drives are also missing. Her phone also showed she was looking through my online drive and her audio recordings. She also made joke threats to other junkies about going to the police with my computer to turn me in. Her ex molested her daughter. Her mom confirmed this, so I saw it as projecting. What the hell, dude? That is a lot of information there. Okay. And I don't know how. Okay. Here's Dabber.
Okay. When I was saying the conversation takes place a couple of months ago, that is separate from this screenshot. So this screenshot just gives you the context to what he knew about her before he gets arrested. So everything else is just a conversation that kind of shows you some of the stuff that he was espousing inside of the server, kind of like letting people know, given the situation with the slave situation, that maybe there should have been a greater concern over his conduct and what he was actually doing in his real life. And I don't think people were so caught off guard by this as Mr. Girl and others might lead you to believe.
Okay. So yeah, so this is a different day. So this one, all of these say today on them. So, but he has different profile pics in different screenshots. So it's hard to tell what days these are actually taken on, but okay. And what claim am I making? I'm saying I see a direction and pattern happening in the universe. I'm skeptical that you could boot consciousness from non-conscious matter. I can't say anything is truly real except that I have an experience. I'm in a better place than him in terms of fewer assumptions. Moisty Uncooked said, someone told me to question everything, so then I questioned whether or not I should question everything, and the answer I got was that no, I should not question everything because some things are sacred. I questioned questioning everything, and I took the answer seriously and didn't question it. That's actually pretty based. I'm not gonna lie. This is Moisty Uncooked. If you're here, I like it. I like it. All right. Dabber said, I talked to Dibber 3.5 hours.
Okay, so more context that you need.
Okay.
Because you're bringing up Dibber. All right, first of all, Moisty is my friend. If you want to talk to him, I don't know if I can get you to talk to him tonight, but he's the one who took these screenshots. But Dibber is actually a bot that Dabber built that uses OpenAI to chat with different servers.
Okay.
So when he says he's talking to Dibber for 3.5 hours, that's him talking to his bot.
Okay. I talked to Dibber for 3.5 hours the other day. Dibber convinced me all our age laws are arbitrary and there's nothing wrong with kids having sex. What? We just need the right safeguards in place in society. What does that even mean, bro? What does that even mean? Like, the right safeguards in place in society is that you safeguard kids from having sex. What is this? Okay. Moisty Uncooked said, you're in a much better place than me in terms of mental health and grasp on reality. What? Why would that be his freaking response to this? Was that sarcastic? Sick? Don't be quiet now. Why is your friend saying right after he says...
Wait. Hold on. Okay, 1 second. I got distracted. All right, which screenshot are you on?
Okay, so Dabber says that all age laws are arbitrary and that there's nothing wrong with kids having sex. And Moisty said, you're in a much better place than me in terms of mental health and grasp on reality.
Yeah, I think if you look at the next screenshot, it actually gives more context because I don't believe that's the entirety of his message.
Okay.
Trust me, by the end of this conversation, you'll understand Moisty's position on Dabber, and it is not kind in the slightest bit. He might also... Also, for the record, Moisty is not a content creator. I told him directly these are the most dog shit screenshots he could have taken in regards to this drama.
Yeah, okay, so the next screenshot doesn't really have anything to... It's not a continuation of this statement, but okay. Says, do you believe there's some circumstance in which it is okay for an adult and a child to have...
Wait, are you even looking at what message he's replying to? Look at what message he's replying to when he says that. It has nothing to do... Yeah, it has nothing to do with the age thing. It's talking
Yeah.
about Dabber's perspective on like the skeptical nature of
It was the one
the
with about the pattern happening in the universe.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Which is okay for an adult to have a child, a sexual relationship if based in love. If not, then how can you say that love in all of its forms are good? Will you say that there is no acceptable circumstance where an adult and a child should be allowed to have sex based in their love for each other? And Dabber said, if someone is abused, that's not love. If two beings consent to something and no trauma ever results from it, I'm okay with that. All right. Yeah, these are hard to go through because the top of each message is cut off. Moisey said, are you saying there are times where this behavior is acceptable or correct? Dabber believes that there are circumstances in which children and adults can have sex with each other, and it's okay, and not just okay, but one of the highest forms of human expression, which is love. Dabber is a pedophile. Dabber said, yes, if let's see. Dabber's also responding to something that we don't see. So, yes, if an adult and child, wait, how old? I'm talking post-puberty for now, can explore sexuality together, and there are no long-term damages, then it should be allowed. I don't have the data for each situation, but I have an intuition that there are many compatible combinations of people of different ages, and trauma is not something that magically appears when you cross an arbitrary legal line. Age of consent is different in every country. So, I mean, he's not wrong, like, totally. I don't know. It feels weird because what he's saying isn't horribly wrong. Like, obviously, not everybody who's a minor is going to end up having some sort of trauma from having sex with adults. But knowing what we know about this person now, this just comes off so different. Like, this comes off so different, dude. Tom, don't trap yourself. Look, I talk about this stuff all the time. You guys can co-partner, all right? This is not a new thing for me. And then this guy said, a mentally ill pedophile with delusions of grandeur. Because, yeah, he said post-pubescent. So he's talking about people who have already gone through puberty. And he said, can explore sexuality together. It sounds like there he's talking about 16-year-olds having sex with 16-year-olds. So I don't know what issue you could, unless you guys were all like virgins until you were 18, or all of you got trauma from having sex before you were 18. I don't know what your issues could be with this. I'm happy to hear anybody explain. If you want to go ahead, I'll wait.
Keep in mind that in most psychological books, or I mean, at least medically, when we're saying post-puberty, we're saying like beyond the age of 13. So you can say that he's talking about 16-year-olds and 16-year-olds, but he's talking about anybody above the age of 13.
Okay, maybe you're right. Okay. Generally, when I talk about post-pubescent, I'm talking about like 16.
Yeah, you're going to have like a more normal perspective on that. But keep in mind, this is also inside the Mr. Girl Discord. And I can give more context in a little bit, but I didn't want to say too much before you actually went through these screenshots.
Okay. Why would he use the word child then? Let's see. He didn't use the word child here. Oh, he said, yes, if an adult and a child. Wait, how old? I'm talking about post-puberty for now. So he was saying, like, when he said child, he clarified that when he says child, he just means a minor that's post-pubescent. But Sick is saying that when he says post-pubescent, he includes people who just started puberty, not people who have finished puberty. Okay. So, yeah, if that's the case, that's a bit different. Okay. Wait, why are we defending child sex adult situation? Nobody was doing that. I don't know. Look, guys, if y'all are just confused, you don't have to talk, okay? I promise you, you guys can just not say things when you're confused. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. You can just not. Sorry. Okay. I have no interest in girls pre-puberty. It wouldn't fit. Moisey said, that's a bold assumption. I wouldn't base my lack of desire to rape children on a mechanical issue. Dabber said, I guess it's an assumption. I haven't tried. Moisey said, I don't believe you. Okay. Sorry, I was laughing at Allie, not at that screenshot. All right. Empty Doll said exactly. That's why I personally don't like 18 and 30/40-year-old relationships. Moisty said, "Your God, just admit it." Dabber said, I was shared a story of a 13-year-old and 30-year-old recently that was extremely positive from the 13-year-old who is now an adult. I'm not saying it's the norm, but it was positive in the case. Things are not black and white. Damn, dude. Yeah. So he is talking about 13-year-olds here.
Yeah,
what
so you know
the
that.
fuck? Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Dabber said, a sign of mediocre intelligence is viewing repetition as a low-quality phenomena. Moisey said, broccoli nigga penis. Partinursa said, I like to imagine who I love with others. Okay. Dabber said, chav. I don't know what that means. Moisty said, you wake up every morning enthusiastic to implement your worldview, and part of your worldview is that there are some instances in which children and adults can have sex and it's beneficial. I'm simply stating that to stop you, if there are no other options, is not only lawful and justified to accomplish by killing you, but it's morally correct and an obligation of good people to endeavor upon. Damn, so this guy's telling him, like, it's good if people just murder him. Yikes. Tomfoolery Show, are these people we know? Do they go by other names? I don't know, not as far as I know. I haven't seen
No, the
any.
answer is no, you don't know any of these people. Actually, everybody knows everybody in the Mr. Girl server who operates outside of there, and that would have been me, Will in your channel, or Will in his channel, Elder Drazi, and Smeth. That's the extent of it. And then I guess Lav, if you want to include her.
So this guy was around, like, back in the day when you guys were all in there?
Yeah, he was there when I was a mod. He probably joined like a month after me.
Okay. All right. we got that one. Dabber said, you're literally inferior to GPT-1 in your ability to debate. Moisty said, I am human, hear me roar. Dabber said, why should we decide on a case-by-case basis when we can just generalize and assume that all young people are incapable of making informed decisions? It's much simpler that way. Just because one person might be mature enough to understand the consequences of their actions doesn't mean all minors are. Plus, who cares about consent anyways? If they are hot and willing, who cares if they are legally able to consent or not? It's all about satisfying our primal urges, baby. Let's throw the age of consent out the window and just go with our instincts. Moisty said, you'd be surprised what a man holding a hammer who is overwhelmed with a sense of righteousness or righteous indignation can accomplish. Yikes. Okay. And then yeah, this is the first one we read. You'd be surprised what a man holding a hammer who is overwhelmed with a sense of righteous indignation can accomplish. Moisty said, Nignog Polywog. Dabber said, okay, Dibber is even further left than me. Moisty said, left equals pro-pedophilia. If you can advocate for pedophilia, then I say N-word. Then I can say N-word, mods. What's the point of having children? You can't F, am I right? So, okay, so Moisty is like trying to... do we know that he actually got in touch with mods here? Like, he didn't at mods. He just said the word mods, right? That doesn't... Do we know that mods actually responded to this in any way?
Let me get off Touch to Talk and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay, screenshots real quick. Fuck. Should have been in the last screenshot.
So this is the last one from the group.
The one with Nathan in it?
No, the Nathan is the very next one. So is Nathan a mod or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that, yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like, you can say he didn't actually call mods because, you know, he didn't actually ping them, or there's a mod mail system set up inside of the server that goes through Me6, and then you handle everything through DMs that the mods can see. But yeah, they're in the Mr. Girl server, because of the nature of some of the things that get talked about, there's almost always a moderator online and watching, and a lot of the mods are also not just moderators, but they're active inside the community. This is pretty common for this specific server. I'm not saying in general.
Okay, so when it says timed out, this means that Dabber was timed out, right? Not Moisty.
No, that actually is Moisty being timed out. It's him getting pissed off because he's getting timed out.
Okay, and then
so he
Dabber
gets timed out, he leaves the server. No, Dabber also got clapped. Okay, but I don't know why.
Okay, so yeah, Nathan is a mod. He said, you both got clapped, to be fair. Didn't think you were the type to quit so easily. Moisty said, oh, nice, as long as he got clapped, we're all good. Nigga, I ain't quit shit. I left the server because I don't appreciate a 24-hour timeout. I came from nothing and I will return to nothing. This is so over dramatic. Taka said, original pirate material, you're listening to the streets. And Moisty said, as long as I could drag his fetid, what does that mean? Feted?
Feeded. Yeah.
Oh, feeded.
It's
feeded
like
corpse to the
like
gates.
rotten.
Yeah, I got feeded. Okay. Feeded corpse to the gates of hell and throw him into the pit With the demons, my time was well served. Okay. Yeah, this guy's a bit of a he's a bit over dramatic, but that's all right.
If I can give you some moisty lore, he does like he's one of the people I associate with that make people think that I'm a Nazi. I'll leave it at that, but he goes to like rallies and stuff like that, and he's actually a really kind person, and he'll go and debate people and stuff, and he's really passionate about his views. So yeah, he's gonna be a little bit dramatic.
Okay, cool. Is that him in the profile picture?
Yep. So he has like a TikTok he posts from and all of that stuff. He does pretty public shit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you sending me all this stuff. So the takeaway from this is Mods knew about this. Mr. Girl acting like he found out that this guy is a little off when they had the call. Maybe not so much. We know at least Mods knew about this. If Mr. Girl has told his mods that they have like although, okay, when they say they got clapped, this says timed out. So does that just mean they both got timed out?
So the way the Mr. Girl server works, generally is that they avoid bans whenever they can. Typically the only people I think have ever really gotten banned in the past were after Mr. Girl unbanned Lav, for potentially trying to goad people into her whatever the accusation was at the time. Mr. Girl was accusing Lav of like taking advantage of some of the more pedophilic members in the community and potentially sexualizing herself as a minor to take advantage of that to garner a following out of his community. That was the accusation at the time. Outside of that, the only reason people have really ever been clapped is because they engage in targeted harassment campaigns inside the server. And then there's one individual who was outed for engaging in lolicon and very, very, very pedophilic porn on Kiwi Farms. And that person got clapped. They are now unbanned. The server has operated as like a safe harbor place for that individual for months now, almost a year now. And then if somebody's underage, they'll also get clapped. Although, I will let you know, just from my time as a mod, there were exceptions to that case.
Okay.
I'm not saying Mr. Girl knew about it, but there's at least one exception I know of.
Okay. Is Lav the exception?
No. Everybody knew. Everybody knew it was like a 13-year-old and a 23-year-old body. Everybody knew Lav was of age. I don't want to say much more because I don't really want to talk about her. It's just she's kind of relevant to the Mr. Girl community. But so the situation where there was like
Sick is not a mod.
No, I quit moderating for that community after like 2 months because I was a bit of a hall Nazi. I didn't let people get away with certain things in a very real way, and I would time them out quite often.
Kill them. Oh.
No, I never. I think I only ever banned one person, and that was a minor.
Okay.
But
so
the minor I banned was actually the exception. It was this kid. He was 17 years old, but I think the situation was that he got banned because he got exposed for being a minor after certain people in leadership knew that he was a minor. But once he got exposed as being a minor, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, it can't be brushed under the rug. He got banned, and then he got unbanned again before he turned 18, before moderators knew that he was going to turn 18. And then not knowing this, I rebanned him when I learned that he was a minor. And I didn't get punished for it, but I will say there was a certain individual who was not happy that I rebanned the individual because it felt like this moderator wanted that person in the community because they weren't engaging in anything sexual and felt like they were generally like not negative for the community's conduct.
But you don't know if Mr. Girl actually knew about this stuff.
I don't think I would say I would be surprised if Mr. Girl knew about that.
So what about the stuff with Dabber? Do you think he knew about this? Is there any reason to believe he knew about this? Because early on you were saying, well, when he's acting like he's surprised about this or that he just found out about it, it doesn't seem to be the case. But is there any reason that that wouldn't be the case?
So one of the problems that I have with Mr. Girl and his conduct, or at least how he's like just openly talking about this Dabber stuff, is he went after Destiny, and a lot of what he was hounding Destiny for was the conduct that was allowed inside of the community and what kind of like sentiment that fostered and how it bled out to affecting other creators in their careers, in their communities, how they engaged with certain platforms like Reddit. And then also at the same time, Mr. Girl has made arguments to Destiny about platforming or sterilizing or humanizing people like Nick Fuentes and their views. And not sitting there and making hard stances about what is and isn't okay. And my problem with Mr. Girl is I don't think anybody looking at the evidence could have known that the sex slave that Dabber was engaging with was a minor. Okay? I'll say that outright, right? There's no evidence leading to that. But one of the big problems is that Mr. Girl went out of his way to like sort of empathize with pedophiles. There were, especially when I was in the server, it was very common for people to have pedophilic tendencies, to talk about the ethicality of whether or not it was okay to sleep with underage people. I was one of the people who would like debate on those topics because my stance was at the time, like if you're from the ages of like 16 to 18, I think you should be able to consent, but there should be like a Romeo and Juliet law. So let's say you can date up to 4 years above you. That's all legal. Or what I think should be like the guidelines. But those were topics that were talked about all the time. Bestiality was talked about. It was a very sex-driven community. And I think Mr. Girl is very aware of that. And when somebody's talking about their proclivity to not, I don't know how to say, if you were to characterize Dabber's messages in those screenshots, would you say he seems like he's not averse to the idea of sleeping with underage children?
Dabber? Yeah,
Yes.
that seems to be the case, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially to me, when he's sending that one message where he's saying, I wouldn't fuck with anybody prepubescent, it wouldn't fit. It's like, that is a very sketch thing to say. And by the way, I don't think you're getting banned for that message. If Dabber got banned for a message, I don't think that was it. But that's sort of the problem is.
So do we
Mr.
know,
Girl's
did he ever get banned? Because like in that screenshot, he just gets timed out. So do we know, did he ever get banned at all?
I'm conflating bans and timeouts. I don't know that he's banned at all. He might be. I mean, if Mr. Girl found it serious enough to like put out a tweet, I would imagine he's not in the server anymore, but I can check real quick actually. Dabber. No, he's not there.
Okay.
Yeah, and you would know. Okay. Yeah. No, but I guess my problem is that like it seems like Mr. Girl server is a community that has always been very welcoming of people with illegal or very questionable sexual preferences, has been open to talking about the sexual preferences as to not ostracize them or make it feel like there's something wrong with you for being born the way that you're born. Okay. Or let's say pedophilia is the result of trauma,
Sure.
as a result of being traumatized.
But if that's the case, like if you're going to allow people to advocate for those things, that's when all of a sudden it changes. Because when you're talking about people saying like, hey, I have this thing that's wrong with me, I can't help it, but I'm not happy about it, that's one thing. But if it's, hey, I got this thing that's wrong with me, and I would really like it if we could change the laws so I could do that thing, that's a little bit different now. That's a very different thing. And it seems like what you're saying seems like you're saying that people had these conversations pretty openly within the Discord about age of consent consistently, or that they had them, a lot of people had them often enough. So you would think that they would draw a line at that if they're going to allow those types of people in the server.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems too, though, is it's kind of like Doobie talks about this quite a few times in the past, where like because he runs a politics server and you're allowed to defend certain types of ideologies, it's a lot different than like recruiting. Well, the problem is that if you're allowed to be in a server where you can advocate for and defend in a debate, let's say like Nazi ideas, essentially you're just excusing the presence of Nazi ideology. It's the same thing with pedophilia, where it's like we're not just saying like, okay, this is a problem that you're attracted to children. These are resources. This is like a healthy way to go about it according to psychological studies. It is treated like a debate topic, and to me that normalizes the idea of sleeping with children. And it's not something that is just kept to VCs or anything. This happens within the confines of text chats too. So it's like it's very easy to record for anybody.
Yeah, like I don't have an issue with people having arguments about age of consent in my server. But I would have issues with it if I thought that those people were actually willing to act on it. His server is actually inviting to those sorts of people. And so that's a very different thing, right? So like in my server, where I would say my community is probably more inviting to Nazis and neo-Nazis more than other servers are. I wouldn't allow them to have conversations about whether or not it's okay to like Holocaust the Jews again or something like that. Like that's just an area where I would not allow the conversation
there,
to
Tom.
go.
What
Yeah,
the fuck?
definitely not. But I would allow people to have arguments about age of consent, because I don't think that I've been like overly inviting to people who are pedophiles, and I think that those are like arguments that are obviously subjective to some extent, and so it makes sense to have those arguments. But I think that if you're actually talking about acting on those things, that changes everything dramatically. That's a huge difference.
Don't you think in some regard though, and by the way, I don't want to misrepresent the server. It's not as if like pedophiles were running rampant in there. It wasn't most of the people, but there was enough of them that it was like you could tell the difference between like proportionalities in the community versus other ones. Especially because if there were, let's say there were the same proportion of pedophiles in the Mr. Girl server as opposed to like, let's say the Tom community. Well, Tom's community is not going to be accepting of this idea that like we're talking about the ethicality of sleeping with 13-year-olds as a 30-year-old. Like, I think they're going to be a lot more closed-minded to the idea. And therefore, in order to not be ostracized or looked at like a weirdo, they're not going to talk about it like that. But to me, that's the problem, is that you have a person who goes on your stream, says that they have a sex slave. Your moderators, who, by the way, behind the scenes, they screen. So it used to be Baby. It might be Paper Scissors, and it might be Nathan now. But every caller that goes on Mr. Girl's shows, if you don't know, they get screened by moderators about what they're going to talk to him about before they ever show up on his stream. And that's to weed out people who might have mental illnesses. That's to make sure that the topic is exciting enough to even be excusable for stream. So it's not like the moderators are unaware of what's being talked about in text chat versus what the person is going to go talk about when they show up on stream. And I think, especially for the moderators, it is a big deal to think that, like, you could say Mr. Girl might not know what's happening inside the server because he's not so present, but the moderators absolutely do. And I think that they have a responsibility to, like, look at the entirety of a person's conduct inside of a server. And Dabber was well known. He's not like some like oddball community member that shows up every once in a while. He was like, I mean, he's more familiar with the server than I am. Do you disagree with any of that?
I don't think so. I'm yawning way too much, and I'm trying not to. But every time I try not to, I'm yawn again.
Yeah, you've been cutting stream a little early for my liking these past few week or so.
Yeah, lots of people are not happy with it. They need those degenerate streams, but I wasn't even just tired. I had no motivation to even stream. Like I've been super lazy for like an entire month, but I think for me, I feel like getting my money from YouTube, I feel like this has rejuvenated me, and so I think because I didn't just get approved, I actually got the money now. Like it's actually in my account. I paid my editor. We're in full effect, moving forward. So
is that Contrast?
Yes, Contrast is.
I like that. I like that guy. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And he just posted the video with Angela earlier. He really likes his intros, so I think he had a full 3.5 minute intro for this one for his coming back party. So yeah, everybody W Contrast in chat. He's back, and then he's also got like a lot of room to just grab segments and whatever he wants and just post them. So we'll be posting a lot more now.
Yeah. Is it okay if I share more about the Mr. Girl server past?
Yeah, sure. I mean, especially before we move on. Hold on 1 second. We got super chat.
$5. Does this mean I can't trigger you with YouTube dollars anymore?
Yes, it will not. It definitely will. If you want, I will pretend to be upset when you send me YouTube super chats, if that's what you want. I will pretend to be super upset each time if that makes you feel better, and if that'll get you to send me more super chats, I'll be super upset with it. But thank you, Incendiary, for the $5. All right, what else you got, Sick?
Okay, so anyways, there was that edgy kid. His name was Edgy, who was 17 and then unbanned, and then I rebanned him. Whatever. There was another individual, and by the way,
oh,
again,
true. I'm sorry, Sick. 1 second. Damn it, Incendiary! Come on, man. What the hell? All right, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Keep interrupting. Hey, do more super chats for Tom, so that way he can interrupt me more and make this conversation last longer. You know.
Yes, now you can piss off somebody who's actually going to get upset about it. This is great.
The other thing that another thing that happened, and by the way, I defended this person because I didn't realize how deep in the drama they were. But there's this individual from back in Kiwi Farms lore, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, and their name is Anonymous. And Anonymous went by the name Laska, and then Rhubarb, and then Dead Streaming, and then something else now. I don't really follow. I'm sure they're still inside the Mr. Girl server. The last time I was in there, like maybe a month or two ago, at the height of like the Mr. Girl Destiny report shit, they were still in there. Not saying they need to be banned or anything to like rectify certain behaviors, but that is a person who I felt like the moderation team at the time, this Rhubarb person, like 10-ish months ago, was exposed for having a Kiwi Farms about them, and in the Kiwi Farms thread, it was this anonymous person was being exposed for being in diaper porn. They were a midget. They were actually on Wick's dog fucking panel. He was the guy who said he's had a dog's penis in his mouth before. But
what the fuck? Okay.
No, he said it on Wick's stream.
Okay.
He said it on the dog fucking panel.
That's right. There was I never watched it, but yeah, I heard about the what's it called again? Bestiality panel. Yeah. Okay.
It's I think the kink is called zoophilia, but separate from furry, because it's the real deal.
Okay, so this person is part of Mr. Girl's server?
Yes. But one of the things that the Mr. Girl server did that I really liked was, as soon as this drama was found out, immediately By the way, I advocated against this. In retrospect, I changed my mind because once I got out of the Mr. Girl community, a lot of my perspectives on like what was being allowed there changed because I was seeing it from like an outside perspective. I didn't realize how many pedophiles I was talking to every day or how many pro dog fuckers I was talking to every day. You don't notice when you're right in it. But they temporarily banned his account. They went back in the Kiwi Farms drama. They looked at the things that he was being accused of, what things could be verified, and one of the things that this person was being outed for wasn't even necessarily his engagement with like lolicon. That was like true lolicon. It was like 3 or 4 or 2-year-old looking kids and boys in diapers, some with their dicks out and shit like that. Really, really disturbing stuff. And then talking about their fantasies with those types of things. What they were actually being outed for was doxing. So aside from all of the crazy like sex talk and like what their fantasies were with children and whatnot, that wasn't even paid attention to. The big deal was that this person has doxed in the past and may be doxing right now in the present through like Twitter. That was what this person got banned for until the investigation was over with. Because I didn't agree with the whole doxing thing. I didn't really care that much about doxing at the time. I care a little bit now. But to me, if somebody like Rhubarb or Anonymous said that, hey, I've got a sex slave inside of my basement, knowing what the Mr. Girl mod team knows about Rhubarb, I would find it abhorrent for them to not go out of their way to try and investigate some of that information. Mm-hmm. And one of the problems that I had with after Mr. Girl posting this tweet was that in the server, there was this guy, I think his name is, let me see. I sent the screenshot. Anyways, one of the problems this person had wasn't necessarily just that Dabber did what Dabber did, but it was the fact that like Dabber was divulging some information. So like you saw where he was saying whatever slave escaped from his house and was threatening to go to the police with like drives. That wasn't really the concern. Everybody's concern is that.
Hold on. Okay, but depending on when those screenshots were taken, do you know when they were taken?
The conversation was taken months ago.
Okay, so just real quick.
Yes.
In the call, he says the person moved in with him a week ago. So it's just based on what he's told us, it sounds like they were different people.
Wait, hold on. When was the Mr. Girl interview?
The Mr. Girl interview, I thought he said was like a week ago.
Oh, if it was that recent, I didn't know that.
Let me double check the tweet because I thought that's what he said, but I could
these
be wrong.
screenshots might be. Let me go on. Okay, I've got a site that I can go to like actually check the timestamps for these messages. I can tell you.
Timothy and I emailed.
Did you maximize my face on your fucking stream?
Yes. It says a couple weeks ago, he called into my sex hotline to say that he was engaging in 24/7 slave roleplay. So, yeah, so then we listened to the call. That call was, he said, a week ago. So if that was done months ago, and this was at most a month ago, then...
Yeah, I'm confirming the timestamps for the messages right now.
Okay.
Because I've got you know who Rita is, right?
There's a Rita that's in my chat or in my Discord sometimes. I assume it's the same person.
He's got a website that logs a lot of these servers.
This is the person that's always bugging Forever Wild.
No comment. User identifier.
Rita the Doxxer. What chat's asking.
Okay, to be fair, that screenshot was never supposed to leave Rita's server. Okay. Somebody leaked that. Dabber believes. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I get all the necessarily like like the user ID and whatnot. I've got to be pretty specific because
So Hello321, thank you for your 3-month membership. Said kill Mary F, Demon Mama, a cantaloupe, Katie. Huh. Can I put the cantaloupe in the microwave first?
oh, this is going to be really annoying. Fuck. No, if
Why are all the
I can't
men
confirm
saying
it right-
yes and all the women saying no? I'm sure if I asked if I could turn the water hot on the freaking removable shower head, all the women would say yes. But if it's a fruit, then now it's a problem. This is, see, I told y'all are sexist as hell, dude.
Okay, for whatever reason, Rita's website is not working right now. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not going to pretend to know. So, apologies to anybody wanting anything better than that. Can't do much else about it right now.
Okay.
Maybe tomorrow or later tonight after I talk to Rita, maybe there's something going on. He might be doing work on the server end or on the front end of the website, how it works, that's causing it to fuck up right now. So, but I can give you solid times for all of those messages because I know they'll be logged. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to drag this out too much longer. I will say though that Mr. Girl definitely sets himself apart from the things that happen inside of the server. And that was like during his argument between Destiny and Forethought when he was trying to get Forethought fired during their initial confrontation. That was one of the things he like bragged about was that he was hands off with the community and his moderation team handled most of the bans and timeouts and what was allowed inside the server. I don't think it matters too much because all that means is like if the moderators know about the stuff that's being talked about on stream and then they also know the stuff that's being talked about inside the server, I would say they're not doing their due diligence to excise some sort of conduct or things that are being excused rhetorically from inside the server in the name of acceptance of like not just pedophiles but everybody.
Yeah. Probably. So somebody asked if you and Mr. Girl have like any beef.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't like that. He proposed the idea of making a doc to me, and then despite him going cold on me, he never told me not to make a doc or anything. He just never responded to me about it after he initially proposed it. He went cold on me, and instead of taking that cue to not do the doc, I went ahead and went through with it on Lav, and then said I went way too far in involving her husband and involving some stuff from her past. But then if you look at the Destiny report, it's like, well, you're just kind of being a hypocrite. I have tried to go on his show since after the Destiny report came out. His moderators were fine letting me through on the show after screening what I was going to talk about. But I stressed to them, like, nope, don't just throw me in front of Mr. Girl because there's a likelihood that he just kicks me off because he doesn't want to talk to me. So give him the courtesy of turning me down. And he did. So he's not going to talk to me.
Okay. I mean, I assume even, yeah, like the way that you left the server, you guys were not super happy with each other after that. So I think like what people wonder is if you have some sort of like beef to where you want to air out problems with Mr. Girl or
I just have a problem with the conduct in the server. I don't even have necessarily problems with the moderation team, except for like maybe one or two people who like I can just see certain types of double standards. But no, I don't like some of the things that are allowed inside the community. I don't have problems with Mr. Girl specifically outside of how he went about the Destiny report situation and some of the things that he misrepresented. But that's no different than any other creator. I've got no like personal vendetta against him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you left like right when you were making the video about Lav, right?
No, I initially left. So I joined the server in January of 2022. I left in March after I decided that I kind of hated the fact that I was a really good moderator. And people in the mod team loved my conduct and the things that I was doing. But it was getting people, because I was the guy who was making or like punishing everybody. All of the flack was coming towards me. And so I essentially was at a place where like I couldn't do anything, because even if I did like fair bans or fair timeouts, it was being treated as if it was like this abhorrent action. So I just got sick of it. I left, and then I came back 2 months later. I think a week after I rejoined, Lav joined. The whole situation between me and her happened, and then I left again, and then I came back once I found out that Lav was trying to paint Cygnus and a few of my other friends as these like major harassers in the community, because I knew they were not being represented fairly, and I knew how toxic Lav and some of her friends were. And then after the doc, like 2 weeks before the doc came out, I left the Mr. Girl server because I was under the impression I was going to get banned anyways, and I was like, I don't want to sit here and like wonder when that's going to happen. I'd rather just leave and distance myself. And then after the video came out, I rejoined. But I don't engage with that community anymore. I haven't since like June of last year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave.
I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Yeah. If I get any more about this stabber guy, do you want me to go ahead and send it to you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if and just DM it to me, and I can kind of figure out if I want to go over it.
Okay. All right. Later, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having
Later.
me on.